Kids game shows in the late 90s were seeing a bit of a resurgence. Nickelodeon had Figure It Out and You're On, Disney had Mad Libs and Off the Wall, PBS had Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego, Game Show Network had Wheel 2000 and Jep. There are a couple I do want to highlight that were part of the Discovery Kids block on the Discovery Channel. One of them was Animal Planet's Zooventure. That was a kids game show that was part stunt show, part animal knowledge show, part awesome. I have to talk to Mark Power about covering that one for a future series. But the one I want to talk about this go around is the other one. It's a kids quiz show with 500 cable channels as the gimmick. I give you Zap It.
It's Discovery Kids Zap It, the channel surfing game show where you control the programming.
Zap It was a kids game show for the Discovery Kids cable channel on the programming block on Sunday mornings on Discovery Channel. Hosted by Matt Brown, 3 kids competed in a quiz game with a hook. That hook being the big trend and joke of there being 500 TV channels on cable or satellite and yet nothing to watch. But is this show worth watching, even for those kids out there, or for us adults who look for really rare shows? Well, let's break it down and start with our host, Matt Brown.
And now here's the guy who brings the whole world to your TV, Matt Brown.
Hi everybody and welcome to Zap It, the only game show that lets you explore your world while you surf over 500 different TV channels of the future.
Matt Brown is the host for the show. If the name might ring a bell to people, it was one of the 3 hosts on the Pie of Wild and Crazy Kids, and he also was on Don't Just Sit There. Not only was his name kinda generic, but he was pretty generic as well. He wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination, as he made the gimmick of the show and the kids the stars, as one should do as host. He was competent as host, but nothing about him screamed at you that he was a good host that should do more on TV. I do want to give special shoutouts to the simplistic but effective set design. The main set has a beach motif, as with the theme song. What also helps is that the video wall is smack in the middle of the set. I'm always of the belief that in the 1990s that if your set had a video wall, your show was 20% cooler. By having the video wall as the giant TV for the cable channels, it worked quite a treat. Also shouting out the physical challenge area. Sure, it was stuck in the corner of the small studio with a green screen, but they made it work by flashing in gimmicks that went well with the physical challenges. So the host is meh, the set is pretty cool. Now how about the game itself? The game itself is fairly simple. All 3 players start off with 20 points. Matt then zaps the first channel and get the question based off of the name of the channel. Usually these questions are multiple choice or open-ended. Buzzing in for the correct answer gets you 20 points. However, buzzing in and getting it wrong means your opponents get 10 points each. It's a simple format that's easy to follow, and yes, it can get monotonous at times. The different bits with the channels get introduced help add some variety though, and can be humorous at times. After a couple of questions, we get to see the contestants' own personal channels, where they introduce themselves in a spill your guts style. These are quite interesting and they're shot pretty well. Getting to know the contestants in a way that isn't the generic host ask questions about a hobby or something like that is pretty good to see. After a few more questions, one contestant will wind up with Channel 50, which is always the physical challenge channel. Here, the contestant in control has to complete some sort of challenging task in 30 seconds. Completing it gets the contestant 50 points, but if they don't, it's 25 points to their opponents. I watched a few of these shows back in the day, and I don't remember anybody completing the physical challenge. After this, regular play resumes, and at the end of the round, the player with the least amount of points is eliminated with a consolation prize. Round 2 is played exactly the same, but this time all 20 points went to the opponent for an incorrect answer, and a couple extra gimmicks were added. If the person in control doesn't really like the channel that popped up, they could hit the fast forward button and will go to the next channel. I've seen this happen a few times in the show's run. The other gimmick is essentially a redo. If you buzz in and get a question wrong, you can immediately hit rewind and give the correct answer. This one was tried a couple of times, but never was executed, or they hit the rewind feature way too late. Near the end of round 2, they would hit Channel 40, which is always Surf the World. Sometimes this would be a 2-player physical stunt, or a get-the-picture-style speed round. For the speed round, a picture would be revealed one square at a time, and Matt would read off clues to it. Getting it right gets you 20 points, but an incorrect answer automatically gives your opponent 20 points. You play this for about a minute or so. It's fine and breaks up the monotony, and I do prefer this to the 2-player physical challenge that sometimes gets thrown in and takes much longer. Round 3 continues as before until Channel 25 shows up, and that's the lightning round. This one plays a lot like how Remote Control did Think Real Fast. Matt will give the setup, i.e. state capitals, and he would give one part of it, i.e. Washington, and the kids have to buzz in with the correct answer, i.e. Olympia. A correct answer here is worth 50 points, whereas an incorrect answer gives 50 points to your opponent. At the end of 1 minute, the contestant with the highest score wins and gets that score converted into cash. Depending on how well a contestant does, that could be in for a pretty decent payday just in cash. I'm also glad for the lightning round as it does help turn the game around if one contestant's been dominating most of the show. It's also a good break from the samey tone rounds they had. The final round is 9 channels in 60 seconds. The champ will pick one of the 9 channels and a question will show up. Getting it right turns the channel into the Zap It logo. Getting it wrong means it turns into a lightning bolt. Getting 6 out of 9 right wins the grand prize package. Missing it nets a consolation prize, but the cash alone that they won in the front game is a great consolation. It's a simple, functional bonus round that reminds me of the honors round for Make the Grade, and I will always stand that show. And that was Zap It. It's a fine show, albeit a bit monotonous. As a kid's quiz show, it works. It's easy to follow along with, there's enough of a gimmick to not be totally boring, and the prizes are actually pretty good. But why was it short-lived? I think where it was would be the issue. The show is primarily on the Discovery Kids channel. Now, most cable systems would have had this on digital cable or not carried at all. Satellite providers probably put this in higher tiers, so it was pretty expensive to see, so not many people got to see Discovery Kids until the channel got into more homes in 2001 or so. By then, Zap It would be long gone. It premiered in 1998, but when the show ended, I really can't get a clear answer to. Some places say it was canceled in 2000, some say its original run ended in 1999, reruns winding up until 2000. I'm going to run that the amount of the episodes would be below the amount needed to max out 26 weeks, so it would qualify. Even the Sunday Discovery Kids block that would have this show on didn't reach that many viewers, leaving this show to dwell into obscurity. If you want to see a full episode of this show, check out our new side channel, the GSG Archive. The episode clips that you saw here is one of the few that is currently in the hands of traders, and I want to share it with the people with some other things I've collected over the years. That'll do it for this edition of 26 Weeks or Less. I'd like to thank you for watching. Be sure to like this video, comment your thoughts on Zap It and other shows you want to see for this segment, subscribe to get new videos on your feed, and if you want to help support the channel, become a Patreon backer at patreon.com/GameShowGumbo and get all videos a day before they go public on this channel. I'm Cindy Saddleman, and we will see you next time on 26 Weeks or Less.